Look again at the Earth, not the one you know, but an alternate version, spinning quietly in the void. There are no continents, no islands, no coastlines where waves kiss the shore. From pole to pole, it is seamless blue, a continuous oceanic veil encircling the entire planet. No jagged peaks reaching skyward, no deserts, no forests, no river deltas cutting into land. The continents, all 7 of them, are simply gone, erased as though they never existed. What remains is water, deep, vast, and uninterrupted. This is not some distant exoplanet in another galaxy. This is Earth, transformed, reimagined into something both beautiful and alien. A world without land. What would that mean for life, for climate, for the very idea of civilization? Today, we dive into a version of our planet that asks a question both fascinating and profound. What if Earth was 100% water and 0% land? To understand this water world Earth, we must go beneath the surface, quite literally, to its foundation, the crust. Today's Earth is shaped by tectonic forces, drifting plates that slide, collide, and fracture to form continents, mountains, and ocean basins. But in a landless world, those forces might look very different. With no large land masses rising above sea level, tectonic plates would be smaller, perhaps more uniform, with fewer subduction zones and no exposed continental shelves. Without continents to resist them, oceanic plates could move more freely, or they could lock into a more stagnant, stable configuration. The mid-ocean ridges would still exist, vast underwater mountain chains where new seafloor is born, but without land interrupting them. These ridges could become the central spine of the planet's deep terrain. The Mariana Trench and its abyssal piers would plunge into even deeper depths, creating a seafloor as varied and dramatic as the continents we lost. And with no land-based erosion feeding sediment into the ocean, the seafloor would be cleaner, perhaps even smoother in some regions, less clouded by mud, more exposed to ancient rock. Without continents to block or redirect ocean currents, our planet's water systems would be unrecognizable. The great gyres that circulate through the Atlantic and Pacific would disappear. In their place, powerful, uninterrupted currents might stretch thousands of kilometers in sweeping loops, circling the globe like invisible belts. Warm equatorial waters could move freely toward the poles, and cold polar currents could return toward the equator, creating a global conveyor of heat and energy. This would likely make the climate more moderate, fewer extremes between hot and cold, between tropics and tundra. But it might also create a hyperhumid atmosphere. With oceans covering the entire surface, evaporation would dominate. The air would be thick with moisture. Rain would be frequent, even relentless. Vast, swirling storms could last for weeks, cyclones with no land to slow them down. Lightning would flash over the open sea. Winds would howl across a planet without obstacles. And rain, endless, crashing rain, would fall into an ocean that could never overflow. The atmosphere of this water world would be shaped entirely by the ocean below. There would be no dust storms, no pollen drifting from trees, no wildfire smoke rising from burning forests. Only sea spray, salt, and cloud. Cloud cover might be thicker, more persistent, reflecting more sunlight back into space. This could cool the planet, unless the blanket of humidity created a runaway greenhouse effect. It's a delicate balance, and in a world of water, small changes ripple into global consequences. There would be no monsoon seasons, because there are no continents to heat and cool at different rates. Instead, rain might fall in consistent bands along the equator, where solar energy fuels massive convective systems. Thunderstorms would form in great wandering flocks, mobile weather giants sweeping across an oceanic wilderness. And the auroras, unimpeded by light pollution or land, would shimmer over waves in the polar night. Mysterious, ghostly curtains dancing above a planet without cities to watch them. On this ocean planet, life would be profoundly aquatic. There would be no trees, no grasses, no flowers, no insects buzzing, no birds gliding. The chorus of terrestrial ecosystems would fall silent because they never began. But the oceans would sing with life. Microorganisms, the first and most abundant forms of life on Earth, would dominate here too. Phytoplankton would cover the sunlit zones, converting sunlight into oxygen and forming the base of the food web. Zooplankton would drift below, feeding fish and larger predators. Without rivers to deliver nutrients, the oceans would need alternative systems. Perhaps volcanic seafloor vents would become biological hotspots, like underwater rainforests. Perhaps migrating filter feeders, whales, or their alien equivalents would serve as nutrient cyclers, moving biomass across the globe. Coral reefs might still exist if shallow seamounts break the surface, but they'd be rarer, fewer, and likely different. Most life would adapt to a deeper, colder, darker world. And yet, in this immense watery expanse, evolution could go wild. Giant squid-like creatures, intelligent dolphins, shape-shifting cephalopods. Could sentient life emerge in such a place? It's possible, but it would face a challenge we rarely consider: the difficulty of creating fire, building tools, and recording knowledge, all without land. Would humans exist at all in this world? It's unlikely. The path that led us here, from early apes walking upright to toolmakers and storytellers, is rooted in the land. We hunted on plains. We built fires in caves. We planted crops in soil. Everything we call civilization was born on dry ground. Without land, that path is severed. But if humanity did somehow emerge in this water world, perhaps from an aquatic ancestor that never needed land, we would be profoundly different. Our homes might be built on giant floating structures, pieced together from organic material grown in the sea. Our energy would come from tides, waves, and sunlight. Our stories would be passed through song and memory, not written on scrolls or etched in stone. Tools would be biological or salvaged from natural materials: bone, shell, coral. Fire would be a myth, and language itself might evolve to be spoken in water, clicks, pulses, or patterns of bioluminescence. It's a beautiful thought and a humbling one, a reminder that our land-based life is not the only way life could be. As we imagine this world, it begins to feel both distant and familiar. It is alien, yes, but not impossibly so. After all, even our current Earth is more water than land. Oceans cover over 70% of the surface. The land we live on is the exception, not the rule. And when we search the skies, we may find planets like this. Astronomers already suspect that some exoplanets are true ocean worlds, covered completely in water, just like this. They may be lifeless, or they may be teeming with creatures that have never felt the sun on their skin. Back on Earth, we walk on land and sail the seas. But in this imagined world, there is no walking, only swimming, drifting, diving, and floating. A planet in motion, unanchored, peaceful, powerful, and profoundly blue. What if Earth was 100% water? It would be a place of silence and storm, of mystery and simplicity, of life, not as we know it, but as it could be. And in imagining that world, we come to better appreciate our own. A planet of balance between land and sea, solid ground and endless depths. A planet just lucky enough to let us call it home.